Hey guys, welcome to our weekly video. This is Hans from Soul of Yoga. So once again we are going into a question of one of our students. So also you, if you feel free if you have any question in your mind, then just get up to us and just comment below and we will get back to you. There's no taboo, you can ask us anything. So for this week one of our former students is asking us. He basically wrote, so when I first learned the practices, I practiced them every day. The yoga was doing a fantastic job for me. And I was just feeling so blissed out and meditative after the practice for the whole day. But what happened is I went for travels and then I just didn't practice for 3 weeks or for a couple of weeks. And then kind of the practice effect wore out. So now I'm getting back into it, and even though I'm practicing very intensely, it's just I'm not getting there anymore. So what am I doing wrong? And actually it's so funny because I had the same thing back in the days when I began with my practices. It was feeling amazing, and then at some point I just kind of expected so many effects and I was just waiting for the benefits, and then I lost it. So one thing is that they are saying always in the yogic tradition, don't expect anything. When you do the practices, don't do it with any expectation, just do it with as much intensity and involvement as you can. Because if you become too goal oriented, then one thing that's happening is, first of all, you don't know what's possible. Like right now, if you set any goal, you're just thinking of the limited perspective you're at right now, but you're not including all the things that are outside of your current reality, which could happen. And if you just don't have any goal, then there's nothing to lose, there's nothing to win, because you just go wherever it leads you, and the practices can lead you to so many places. Now another thing is, if you do the practices with a goal in mind and you want to get something specific out of it, and then you try to use the practice like a tool that you squeeze out like a bottle of ketchup. On the other hand, there's a better way to do it, and it's just to focus on the process itself, focus on the journey instead of the destination, and then naturally the best things that can be produced will get produced. Now, when it comes to having too firm goals on your mind, I mean, yes, it is easy to do the practices with that thing in mind, because, I mean, in the end you want to invest the time wisely. So, to some extent, it might be the motivator for you in the beginning, but just focus on doing it as intensely as you can without having the goal in your mind. At least while you're doing the practice, you shouldn't have the goal in your mind. Now another thing is, in case you notice that during the day it's wearing out, then one thing you can do is there are certain tools to keep up the consciousness, to stay in a meditative state. Now you can be aware of them. A few of them you're learning in our classes, a few of them you're learning in engineering classes, and I believe you already know about them. However, when you notice that during the day you're kind of losing track, you're kind of getting into a more nervous or anxious or stressful or agitated state, then at least one thing that you can do is be aware of the state that you're in right now, and just try to get back into the feeling that you had either during the practice or after the practice that you had in the morning, because I assume at least during that time you're feeling the blissful inner state. And then just try to get in touch with it once again. And most of all, like now that you've been practicing once again for some time, you want to go back to the old state that you're used to. So for some people it can just take some time to get back on track. And it doesn't just depend on the one practice itself, but on all your life circumstances, how you are managing your body, how you're managing your mind, your emotions, your energies. So if you're not being in that state right now, that just means that at least one of those components are out of track kind of right now. So you can also do some introspective or reflection at least, and look at yourself, like which of those components that make up who you are, the body, the mind, the emotions, the energies, which one of those are maybe a bit out of balance right now and need some focus on. And maybe you're just not getting enough sleep, maybe you're not getting proper food, maybe you are in toxic environments and people around you are not very supportive, maybe your studies, your job, or whatever you're doing is just dragging you down. Maybe you're not aligned with your core values. There can be so many things which affect your life in so many ways. So that's another thing that you can take a look into finally. So I hope that helped you. Just a few things that came to mind. I realize it's a very generic answer because everybody is different. So I'm just pointing out a few things that could cause the problem or could cause you not getting back into the same feeling. But in the end, you either have to do some deeper work with us or with anybody else who's going into that direction, or you just have to be reflective and see what is the kind of key spinning wheel for you right now that you have to turn in order to get the whole machine running. So I hope that helped. If you got any further question, if you want any more clarification, then don't be shy, get back to me again. And everybody else, if you liked the video, if you liked our informations, then just hit the subscribe button. Leave us a like, and more importantly, if you got any other questions, then don't hesitate to comment, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks for joining us here in Munich, and I talk to you soon.